Welcome to the Workforce Wire podcast, brought to you by Employ Prince George's, bridging the gap between job seekers and businesses.
Hello, we're here in Prince George's County on the Employ Prince George's Workforce Wire podcast. My name is Pete Goodson and I am the ReEntry Coordinator here at Employ Prince George's. And today we're going to have a special episode. We're going to talk about ReEntry Month in Prince George's County. We designate a month. The month of March is ReEntry Month, a month dedicated to encouraging and helping our returning citizens. Today, I have with me one of Employ Prince George's talented community outreach specialists, Lawrence Barbour, former reentry job seekers, Sheldon McDowell and Dajaune Goode. Mr. McDowell and Mr. Goode, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having us.
So, guys, let's jump right in. Would you mind telling us a little about yourselves, guys?
Well, I'm Sheldon McDowell, and I re-entered the society back in June of 2018 here in Prince George's County, and I came into the job center about a month after that, sent down here from the social services department, and of course I've been seeking, trying to get my CDL and some other certifications through, and I've had some great success in fulfilling that goal. I look forward to, some other things coming down the line that we'll be able to do to better my reentry and to be able to help others also.
Right, great. How you doing? My name is Dajaune Goode, and I also was released from prison in the year of 2018, and I was introduced to employee outreach program through family. And once coming here, I gained employment, and I'm now able to employ people. So this right here was a great step and a milestone in my life, and I encourage anyone to jump on this month of March for reentry.
I have some questions for you guys. Question one, Sheldon, how did you find out about the American Job Center, and how do you, what do you think about our job seeker services and how they may have helped you?
Well, before my release, we had to go through a reentry program in prison, and they made us aware that there would be resources and workforce centers, they called them, where I was. And so I knew there was something, but I didn't know exactly what it was until I got to social services, and I was getting some assistance there, and they sent me down to the American Job Center here, and I've been connected to the place ever since. But the services have been very helpful to me where I was on my course and where I am on my course still today. The American Job Center is assisting me to accomplish some of the other goals that I have to be, self-employed.
Same question, Dajaune.
Okay, I first learned about the American Job Center when it was called the One Stop Program, and I remember being excited running back to the cell block and being able to get on the telephone and call home and saying that, hey, I may have found a way to get employment when I get released. And family member asked, from where? And I said, the One Stop Program. And ironically, the family member I was speaking with knew someone who worked in that office. And from that time in 2016, until my release in 2018, I've been corresponding with Mr. Goodson about re-entering and coming to at that time, the One Stop Program, which is now Employ Prince George's, and working on a career.
I have another question, and this is for you, Sheldon. What do you think has been the hardest part about transitioning back into the community?
One of the hardest parts, I would say for me, would be not having the continuity of my records to help me to reintegrate because my driving record was lost, and I had to wait, go through the driving program as a beginner. Being one who had a CDL previously, that was a little tough for me. I sat in school, driving school, actually, with 15 and 16-year-olds learning, the new way of how they teach you to drive, which was helpful, actually, because it was different from when I was out driving 25 years ago. But, we've over that milestone now, and we headed down another road. But, yeah, I would say that would be the hardest part of having to wait.
And I believe the hardest part for me transitioning back into the community would be to just be still and be patient. After being incarcerated and coming home, you want to rush and jump into things, but just be still and be patient, and it's gonna come. So just work hard on what you want, your goal, be still, be patient, and the guys here at the Employee Prince George's will work with you and place you in a direction that you need to be. So that was my hardest part, and once I learned how to just be patient and wait, everything's been coming at me full speed.
Very good. Another question here, Sheldon. What is your biggest regret from the past, and how has it helped you today? Help you to become who you are today?
Well, my biggest regret from the past is not being in my children's lives, and helping them to raise them and, just be there when they were in need and carrying them to school and programs and, just living life with them. But today, learning how to be a parent, a grandparent also, and having that regret more so I have turned it into, spending more time with my children and my grandchildren, and things I've learned in their absence has now become, instrumental in how I relate to them today. And you never get too old to raise your children. They still need a father at 30, 35, and the youngest being 27. So I'm a father today, just like a new father. And so that's how it's helped me. I've turned that into a positive.
Very good.
Okay, I would think that my biggest regret from my past to now that I've changed is just listening. Sometimes we need to just listen, and obviously to us to be re-entering into society, we had a problem with listening at one point in time, so just not listening and paying attention, and now just pay attention and listen.
Very good. Very good. I have another question here. It's a two-part question. Sheldon, what advice would you give someone who's going through the same situation right now?
Well, I would first tell them that they have an opportunity that a whole lot of other people don't have. And that is being in a position to be able to look for, employment in some sort of career, because there are over almost 2 million people still incarcerated. And so to be standing in line and looking for an opportunity to, to use your skills and earn, a living is the greatest blessing to start with. But I would also tell them that, you have to work, you have to be patient, and you can't give up. You have to continue, to go through the doors that's open and ignore the doors that are not. And don't be discouraged, because you'll go through the right door eventually. And your life, will continue to evolve into, a blessed and productive and prosperous one.
The advice that I will give someone re-entering into society right now is more so one word: perseverance. Just shoot forward in a direction to be able to succeed. Perseverance. Just maintain through difficult times, and you will come out on top.
All right. And okay, guys, let's say if you just met a returning citizen, that person just walked in the lobby of the American Job Center. What advice would you give him? You see that he's kind of frustrated, he's looking for resources, things are not working for him. What type of advice would you give him, Sheldon?
Well, I will tell him first that the people here are not your enemies. Your enemies are behind you. These people are here to help you. And sometimes you have to help them to help you. And don't allow your inconsistencies and your weaknesses, to keep you from receiving what it is that you're here to receive. Don't mind sharing your weaknesses. They have accommodations for areas. They know you need a resume. They know you haven't worked in, several years or whatever long it may have been. But just let the program work for you, but be involved in it and allow them, to assist you, because that's what they're here to do. That's what this is designed to do. And I can assure you that you'll walk off and walk away better than you was when you first got here.
Dajaune?
I'm going to piggyback off of that, and I'm going to say, yes, that's exactly what they need to do. They need to first use all of the resources. If you're actually serious about regaining economic freedom and a second chance, I mean, the resources are right there in front of you. Utilize them. Get federally bonded. Come to the events during the month of March for reentry. See if you could get your record expunged. It's so many ways that you can move about. Further your education. See if grants are possible for you to get into one of the local community colleges. The guys here at the employment workforce would definitely find every avenue for you, but they're not the ones that's in need of a second chance and economic freedom. You have to put forth that same effort. It's not just going to be handed to you. You have to work for it. You have to want it. So come prepared and come with things that you've done on your own, and they'll pick up the pieces.
Guys, let's dive a little bit deeper now. Sheldon, what led you to this point? I mean, what got you here, from here to incarceration, and you're back now? What led you to that point?
Well, as a young juvenile, teenager, I started getting in trouble. And I didn't have, father in the home to really rear me into a different kind of path to be able to, monitor my behavior. So my mom had 4 children, and I was just sort of, doing things behind her back and away from her. And eventually, led to juvenile encounters with the law. But this last event that led to my incarceration, I was involved in a robbery where a guy was shot and killed. And although I wasn't the shooter, I was still held accountable for that shooting. And I received 121 years in prison. And so I entered prison at the age of 22. A young man, scared, as any young man would be, but I was also determined that I wasn't going to die in prison. And I was determined that since I was there, I needed to, avail myself to whatever was available to help me, to become better, and to help me, in my endeavor to gain my release one day. At 121 years, you don't know what day that's going to be. And so, but, by faith, my mother did raise me in the church. And so I had an understanding that if I believed and if I put, forth the necessary effort, then better things would happen for me. I know what would happen if I had kept doing what it was I was doing. But I also knew that good would come from good being sown and being planted. I would reap something different. And, after serving 26 years in prison, I earned my bachelor's degree in theology. I was certified landscape horticulturalist, and I read hundreds of books. I wasn't a big reader before that. Read hundreds of books, life stories, documentaries, theological books, you name it, to make myself aware of the world that was around me. And I lived it out in my mind. My imagination took me places that I never physically was able to go. But I just had a lust for life. I wanted to live, and I wanted to live a better life. And so, as God would have it, a day came that I was able to be delivered. and set free again. And that was a great blessing for me. But in having, that opportunity, I knew I had to be prepared to enter into a society that was different from the one that I left. And so I availed myself to the resources to help me do that. People who understood it better, the technologies, so on and so forth. I was just always paying attention to and interested in. And just a few people that was willing to help me. And I'm grateful for those people today, and some of which have led me to this place. So I think with, such a downfall as I've had, it's never a time to give up. It's never a time to give in. It's always a time to look. As we say on the other side of the fence, look for the hole in the fence. There is one. Look for the hole. There is some. And so for me, it came. And I'm ever so grateful for it. And I take the opportunity as a bull by the horns. And I'm going to make the best of it. So help me God.
All right.
I know that's right.
I know that. All right. I lost the question. I was sorry. I know we all heard the same story before. I didn't have a dad at home, or I grew up in the projects, or my mom wasn't there, or there's no food in the house, so I had to go out and get it this way. But that's not my story. I had a mother and father in the house. I lived in like 3 different countries before I chose to get incarcerated. I came from a sheltered background. So I think the wrong move that I may have made in my life was not knowing yourself, wanting to fit into a culture or a fad or fit a propaganda. So I just encourage the guys out there that incarceration is not blind towards poverty-stricken or middle class or upper middle class. It could happen and it could come at any time with a wrong decision. I was sentenced to 50 years in the Department of Corrections in the state of Maryland. I served 10 years of that, and I'm just blessed to be home, and I'm gonna make better decisions and try to help people from all walks of life, the ones that can relate to me and the ones that I can relate to. So that's my testimony.
Sheldon, I want to thank you and Dajaune for coming and sharing your testimony, man, and really giving us some good feedback on what we do at the American Job Center, ReEntry Month, and how we can, serve our customers even better. So guys, again, thank you for coming. Thank you for sharing, the testimonies and just giving us some good feedback on how you guys transition back home.
Well, we appreciate you having us, Mr. Goodson.
I definitely appreciate you for having me also, Mr. Goodson. And if it's any encouragement to you guys out there listening, in March, like I said, in March of 2018, I came to Mr. Goodson for help in seeking employment. In March of 2019, I hired 7 guys that Mr. Goodson sent to me seeking employment. So things can change.
Wow, Mr. Goodson, that was a great experience and a great session. And certainly we want to thank Dajaune Goode and Sheldon McDowell for taking the time to be with us today to share their success story. And we know that there are many other success stories who have benefited from the service here at Employ Prince George's and the American Job Center. And we want to truly give thanks to Mr. Walter Simmons, our president and CEO, for the vision he has to help the returning reentry population find workforce development help. So we want to thank him. And then certainly I want to thank you, Mr. Goodson, because you have been helpful in touching a lot of lives as it relates to overcoming the barriers of employment. I myself has benefited from your help, and I just want to say thank you. And then we want to thank the listening audience for listening to what we have to say about reentry. I'd like to share a few announcements with you. This is our ReEntry Month, and I am so glad about what we have to offer here. We're doing great things through the entire Job Center, AJC, but ReEntry Month is a passion of mine. So let me share. First of all, we have the expungement clinic coming up on Saturday, the 14th of March, from 11 to 2 o'clock. We will be at the Tree of Life Christian Ministry, located at 9109 Piscataway Road, Clinton, Maryland. Then on March the 17th, we will have our third annual ReEntry Service Providers Network breakfast. We want to bring together all of those who are serving the returning citizen population together to network and to share how we can better serve those who are returning home. And then on the 19th, we will have our ReEntry Career Readiness Session. And this is, if you know anybody who's a PG resident who is seeking employment that have barriers to employment, we want you to recommend them to come over here. We will help get them ready. We will help them with their resumes. We will have mock interviews. We will get them ready for our ReEntry Job Fair, which will be coming up on the 31st of March here at the American Job Center, 1801 McCormick Drive. The job fair will be from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. Certainly, we have a lot to offer. Our theme this year is everyone deserves a second chance. And I will go even as far as say everybody deserves another chance. So we do hope that you will pass on this information. Also, I would like to add on that Fully Restoring Every Son's Hope, Fresh, and the City of District Heights also will have an expungement clinic coming up on Saturday, March the 21st from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. And that will be at the District Heights Municipal Center, 2000 Marbury Drive, District Heights, Maryland. And Mr. Goodson, you want to say something about our new job club?
Yeah, we have a great program just starting up, Life After Release. It's a job club for women every Wednesday from 10 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. This job club, it empowers women by finding new careers, learning how to navigate life after incarceration, great facilitators, a great program that will empower our women that once they're released, they come home and they're able to make a better transition. You know, we got a lot of programs, we got a lot of our women are coming home, and Life After Release Job Club for Women is a fantastic program.
And again, I'm LT Barbour, the Community Outreach Specialist, and we would like you to check us out. Our website is www.employpg.org/events. And if you have any other questions, you would like to give me a call, you can reach me at 301-583-4631. Or email me at lbarbour, B-A-R-B-O-U-R, @co.pg.md.us. And again, thank you very much and looking forward to seeing you this month. Thank you.